Well, hello, fellow travelers. Mr. Pass here. Man, today has been a day. We started off today in Appomattox Courthouse, which, as you know, is where Lee surrendered to Grant. Most people consider that the basically the death knell for the South in the war, the end of the war, even though technically the war wasn't over for a little bit longer because some other commanders had to surrender and things like that. But most people pretty much acknowledge Lee's surrender as pretty much the end. And since we left Appomattox, it has been a day. We have gone through Virginia, and I'm going to go through some of the battlefields that we've gone through and some of the numbers with you, because it's really just amazing. Even the information I'm giving in these videos doesn't even scratch the surface of what we're experiencing here, and what can be experienced here. But let's now these that I go over with you, these are going to be in order of what we visited, not order of the chronology of the battle, okay, of the war. So after Appomattox, we went to Fredericksburg. Battle of Fredericksburg was fought from December 11th through the 15th in 1862, and it was a pretty hard fought battle. It was considered a Southern victory. The North sustained 12,653 casualties, while the South sustained 5,377. Now, a little bit about those numbers. So yeah, the North sustained many more casualties, and even in some of the battles that the North, quote unquote, won, they still had really high casualty rates. But what happened, what the deal was, is that the North had such a bigger population to draw from that they were able to replace those casualties much easier than the South was. So even if the South lost half of what the North lost, it was a bigger blow to the South because they didn't have the large pool to draw from of fighting age men to replenish their ranks. So it was even losing a few could be devastating for the Confederate Army. Next, we went to Chancellorsville. Now, all of these are in Virginia, and they're all fairly close together. Chancellorsville was fought from April the 30th to May the 3rd of 1863. Another Southern victory, but the casualties were fairly close this time. 17,287 for the Union, 12,764 for the Confederacy. So even though that's a Southern victory, the South really lost a lot of people that they couldn't afford to lose there. Next, we went to Spotsylvania, also in Virginia, May 8th through May 21st, 1864. This one was undecided. It was inconclusive. Both sides obviously declared victory, but it was kind of inconclusive. But again, the casualties were sort of close. 18,399 for the North and 12,657 for the South. So again, even though the North was more, the South was a bigger blow to it. Also, just down the road from Spotsylvania was the Wilderness, and the Battle of the Wilderness from May 5th through the 9th. May 5th through the 7th of 1864. So Wilderness was May 5th through the 7th, and then Spotsylvania just down the road was the 8th through the 21st, and it was the same armies going up against each other. So it was, you could almost count it as one big battle. And again, it was undecided, but 17,500 casualties for the North, 10,000 casualties for the South. And again, just brutal fighting. Some of the most brutal fighting of the war was there. But that brings us to where we are now. And we are now at Manassas, Virginia. And Manassas, you may also know as Bull Run. So if you're unaware, in a lot of the battles, the South and the North have different names for them. The North tends to name them after water features. So Bull Run is a creek that's near here, whereas the South tends to name them after towns or railroad junctions. And so this was named after Manassas. And so you'll always know if you're talking to someone who learned, learned in the South or learned somewhere else, because we'll generally call it by the Southern name. Whereas if you hear it called Bull Run, you know that they weren't educated in the South usually. That's a little tidbit. But we are here, and there were actually two battles of Bull Run, or two battles of Manassas. One was on July 21st of 1861. The South won that one, and compared to later on, the casualties were rather low. Now, the first Manassas, or first Bull Run, was the actual first battle, first real battle fought after Fort Sumter. And so July 21st of 1861, the South won this one, and the North lost 2,708 men casualties, while the South lost 1,982. And basically, at the battle of First Manassas, the North they just got outgeneraled with it, and one of the reasons they got outgeneraled was because of this man right here. If you can see behind me, where is he? There he is, sitting up on his horse, Little Sorrel. This is Thomas Jackson, and after this battle, he would be known by another name. He would be known by the name of Stonewall Jackson. And the reason he would be named Stonewall is because one of the other commanders said, "There sits Jackson like a stone wall." And this was during the Battle of First Manassas, and this is where he gets the name of Stonewall Jackson. So again, this was a Southern victory. But then a year later, August 29th through 30th, 1862, they're back. The armies are back, and it's a bloodier fight this time. It's a bigger fight, bloodier fight. Again, the South wins. And, it's interesting because for a lot of the first couple of years of the war, the Confederacy actually won a lot of battles. The Confederacy was actually fighting really well. They didn't have the men to replace the ones that they lost, and they didn't have the supply chain that the North had. So it obviously, basically, it became a war of attrition, and the South could not keep up with that. But for Second Manassas, August 29th through 30th, 1862, the Union suffered 14,462 casualties, while the South, the Confederacy, suffered 7,298 casualties. Now, I have to be honest, I've been trying to give you more than just numbers on this trip. I've been trying to give you a little taste of what we're seeing here. But I have to be honest with you, we have been running through today so quickly, because we have, when we leave here, we're actually going to Antietam, which is in Maryland, and we had to get to Manassas before the visitor center closed, which closed at 5 o'clock. We actually got here 30 minutes before it closed. because there are some things I'm picking up at all of the battlefields that I'm going to. So we didn't really have the time to really tour the battlefields, Fredericksburg and Chancellorsville, Spotsylvania, and Wilderness. And it really even we didn't get to spend as much time as I would have liked to have spent at Appomattox Courthouse, just because today was just a really busy day. So I'm sorry if I'm not giving you a lot of meat on this one, but I wanted to just give you a taste of what we've hit today. Tomorrow we will do, we're going to spend the night in Antietam, Maryland, and tomorrow morning we'll hit Antietam, and then we're going to Gettysburg. And that is one I'm really looking forward to. And I hope to be able to give you some really good tidbits from there. Thanks a lot for following along with us so far. I hope you've at least been a little bit entertained or a little bit interested. This is kind of my first attempt at doing this here. I did it when I went to London, but this is a little more educational of what I'm doing. So anyway, stay with us. I'll see you guys a little further down the road tomorrow, Antietam and Gettysburg. Have a great rest of your day.